What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and a stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The House of Representatives has passed a major bill here worth tens of billions and billions of dollars here. And it's now going to go to the Senate here. We'll get to that here in a second. This comes as inflation here in the U.S. is still near a 40-year high. The March numbers were at 8.5%. The April numbers at 8.3%. This was as the April gas had fallen a little bit, but now gas prices are at all-time highs here. Just as of yesterday, we have hit a new all-time high ever. Yeah, this is what the national average gas price is at $4.40 a gallon for regular gas and $5.55 for diesel. This is the highest price averages across the US ever in the history of the United States. This is just unbelievable, especially because the price of oil is nowhere near the all-time highs. The Brent crude, the highs were over $140 a barrel. WTI crude highs were over 135, and just a day or two ago, this was down below 99. You can see here it's up about 6% since then. But even with that, up 6%, up 5% since then, we're still nowhere near the highs. So why are gas prices at all-time highs? And remember, diesel prices, if you don't buy any diesel, diesel greatly affects you because the price of food, if you have not noticed, the price of food is at all-time highs as well in the US and across the entire world. Food prices and gas prices all around the world are at all-time highs. So, yeah, food prices all-time highs in the US, all around the world because of diesel and because of other things like fertilizer and the Ukraine war. Ukraine and Russia are massive producers of a lot of wheat and things, other types of grains and stuff like that, and sunflower oils and different things like that. And diesel has to ship every single item to a store via a semi truck. So every single item has to ship your food to a store or anything you buy, whether it's a mop or a pair of shoes, clothing, anything you buy, even if it's made in the US, still has to be shipped to a store. And these oil and gas companies have got to be stopped. Have got to be stopped. And oil, the price of oil is not even close to the all-time high. We're still like 30% below the all-time high. So why are we seeing all-time highs with gas prices? Yeah, and it's really just corporate greed. These gas companies are just gouging us. Take a look at this graph here. Look at what the price of regular gasoline has done just since January. Now I know that the war in Ukraine has started this year, and I know that that's had a lot to do with it. But look at the price of gas since January. That's crazy. And you can see the massive spike here when the war started. And what do we do? What do we do to stop these gas companies from gouging us? I'm not sure. Well, meanwhile, Congress has passed a bill in the House of Representatives to try to shorten this war. And well, here's the details of it. Check this out. It's a bipartisan bill with Republicans and Democrats. Some Republicans voted no. Here we go.
$40 billion aid package for Ukraine. Now it's up to the Senate to send the bill to the president's desk. NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor joins us now with more. Sahil, what are these House members really saying about passing this massive aid package?
Well, mainly, Morgan, that it is urgent. This issue has been stalemated for a while. This $33 billion aid package request from the White House to Congress had been wrapped up over this separate, unrelated dispute about COVID relief money, which Senate Republicans were filibustering because they want votes on an amendment regarding immigration in Title 42. Well, President Biden decided to break that off in order to clear a path for Ukraine aid funding. That package rose from $33 billion to $40 billion, passed the House of Representatives, and there is an urgency in the Senate, broad bipartisan support in both chambers to move this forward. Let's have a listen to how Speaker Pelosi described the importance of this.
As Putin desperately accelerates his campaign of horror and brutality, Mr. Speaker, horror and brutality in Ukraine, time is of the essence. America's continue to move together with our allies to level a historic punishment against Putin for his senseless aggression, isolating Russia and devastating its economy. I wish the people of Russia knew what he was doing to them.
A big vote in the House yesterday. Now it sits in the Senate, which has to decide what, if any, potential changes to make before they consider it.
But Sahil, give us both a timeline and a preview here. I mean, how long before this spending package will be taken up by the Senate? But also, do we have any idea as to how those senators will ultimately vote?
There are some optimists, I should call them, in the Senate who want this to be done as early as this week, believe there is some possibility of doing that. The general consensus is if they reach a deal, if the two sides reach a deal about what should be in this and what should not be in this, it could move pretty quickly. But this week is very optimistic. Thursdays in the Senate tend to be Fridays, and lawmakers like to leave town, which leaves about a day. More likely scenario is it comes up next week, and there are several issues that lawmakers are working through. We heard Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday, who, remember, Republicans need to supply 10 votes in order to defeat a filibuster, so he has a lot of power over whether this moves or whether this is stranded. He said this should be clear of any extraneous measures, and he considers extraneous measures to include money to resettle Afghan refugees, normalize their status, benefits for Ukrainian refugees, and sanctions on Russian oligarchs, all bipartisan issues, but not clear McConnell will allow them to move forward in this and drop his filibuster to enable that. In other words, there still has to be a deal on these issues, Morgan.
So, yeah, a little odd that Mitch McConnell, who's, he's said in the past that pretty much any money that needs to be supplied for Ukraine and to combat Putin should be supplied, and any sanctions against Putin should be ratcheted up to the full maximum. It's interesting that he's saying to not couple this with any of the other bipartisan bills or ideas, because if they're bipartisanship, a lot of times just coupling them together makes it easier and faster. If they're already bipartisan, a lot of times that's just what Congress does because it's just faster and easier to get them done. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. When we think of packages, that's what they do because it's just the easiest way to and fastest way to get things done. So, but if Mitch McConnell is demanding that everything be stripped away, that could delay this. If they have to change the bill, they'd have to send it back to the House. Well, we'll have to see. The next kind of thing here is that we've had a lot of comments in the comments section saying, well, what about the people here at home? What about the people here at home? And that is very good thought here. And we do need to take care of our people here at home right now. We have inflation just at an all-time high right now, and we have a lot of states that are doing a pretty good job of sending stimulus checks, stimulus packages, reducing taxes, reducing um, all sorts of different type of taxes and things like that with these state stimulus checks. We just had Hawaii here, who I think is the most recent one that just passed a $300 stimulus checks for or tax rebate checks, whatever you want to call it, for the state of Hawaii. $300 per person and for their dependents. So, as an example, if it's mom and dad and two children, you're looking at $1,200 just from a state check. That's not a bad check. That's not a bad check. If you have mom and dad and four children, that is six people. Six times three would be $1,800. Again, pretty decent for a state stimulus check here. Also, Hawaii also recently here passed raising their minimum wage here. You can see here less than 2 weeks ago, Hawaii lawmakers finally agree on raising the minimum wage. House Bill 2510 also makes a state earned income tax credit refundable, which means that's for low and middle income workers can actually get a check back from the state if you don't owe money to the state, or if you don't owe that much money and you owe less money than the tax credit can give you, the state will actually send you a check back. Okay. Um, as well. And they raised their minimum wage here for the first time in 4 years. You can see here, current minimum wage is $10.10 an hour. And Hawaii has a typically a little bit higher cost of living than a lot of other places, because they're basically out in the middle of the ocean. And a lot of things got to get shipped in there, and food just costs a little bit more and stuff like that. So it's going to rise to $12 an hour in October under a measure that cleared a key legislative conference committee Friday. Wages would then rise to $14 an hour in 2024 and $16 an hour in 2026 and $18 an hour in 2028. So again, we're seeing a lot of different states raise their minimum wage. Previously, we had seen a $15 an hour minimum wage on the federal level, and they actually, if I actually go back here in my memory, they passed this in a previous version of a stimulus package. I have to go all the way back here, and that was removed by the House, or I'm sorry, the Senate parliamentarian. We got to go all the way back here. I believe that was the stimulus package that was passed when Biden came into office, the $1,400 stimulus check package. So the House passed it, $15 an hour minimum wage, but then the Senate parliamentarian said did not abide by the Byrd rules, BYRD. It's named after a previous senator. Okay, so they tried to pass a $15 an hour federal minimum wage. There's still a bunch of states that actually have $7.25 minimum wage. Now, remember, that's minimum wage. That's minimum wage. That does not mean that you have to work for that. Remember, it's a free country. You can just go work at a different job if you don't want to work for that. Easier said than done in some cases, but it's a free market. You can go work somewhere else if you want to. Um, but a lot of states are not really, even if that's the minimum wage, a lot of places are hiring for more than that. But still, that's extremely low, extremely low. Um, and some states, I believe, like Florida, has passed a $15 an hour minimum wage as well. Hawaii actually more than that, but it's in future years. It's like, yes, we've passed $15 an hour or more, but it's like a stepped up progression, right? It's going to happen. It steps up a little bit at a time, and I we're gonna We're gonna leave that in there. We're gonna leave that in there. We're gonna leave that in there so you guys can hear that. That's my wife trying to hold a sneeze in from the other room. And first of all, it scared me if you seen my face. And second of all, it was just absolutely hilarious. So I hope she leaves that in there when she edits my video. But yeah, raising the minimum wage is, it's a double-edged sword as well because when you raise the minimum wage, let's be honest here, it provides a more livable wage for a lot of people, but it also raises inflation as well. Let's be honest. If we'll just take again, I'm just kind of being honest here, just being a realist here. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I consider myself a realist, and I like to look at things from a real point of view. If you're a business, let's just take McDonald's for example, and you have 1 million employees, okay, all across the country, and let's just say your average wage is $10 an hour, and all of a sudden you have to pay $15 an hour. Okay, so your wages go up by 50%. Okay. Let's just say that Congress passes a law and now your wages are 50% more. What does that mean you have to do for your prices? If your wages all of a sudden go up by 50%, I think everybody knows the answer here. You have to raise your prices. And honestly, a lot of companies couldn't even, I mean, McDonald's probably could, but a lot of companies, small companies, especially small businesses, a lot of companies would go out of business. Let's be honest, because a lot of companies just aren't that efficient. They're barely getting by to begin with, and a lot of companies can't even deal with a price raise because um, they're just not. They're barely getting by, and they're trying to compete with other companies. They're not doing that well, and if they raise their prices, you know, they're just not gonna really, if they raise their prices, that might be their only advantage right now is that they're priced lower than other companies. And if they raise their prices, now they're not priced lower anyways, and that might put them out of business. But a company like McDonald's would have to raise their prices on everything to just pay for the labor of 1 million employees. And every time you go to McDonald's, the price is going to be raised. And you can't say I won't go to McDonald's anymore because they're going to raise their prices, because everybody's going to have to raise their prices. Okay. Burger King, Wendy's, the gas station, Walmart, everywhere. And that's inflation for you. And that's inflation for you. And it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's normal. I mean, wages have been going up. It's part of normal life. Every year, people normally get raises, okay? And I'm not saying everybody does. Not everybody gets a raise every year. But statistically, wages go up a little bit every year. And that's just part of inflation. Uh, I mean, if you just look back 20 years ago, people are making more than they were 20 years ago. So, um, yeah, this is kind of, and this is why inflation right now is really hurting so many people, especially low and middle income people on fixed income. Because there's just a lot of people hurting right now. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I will keep you up to date here with everything you need to know about and what's going on here in our country. So make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing is completely free to do so. And after subscribing, click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to get notifications as soon as we go live. You can click here to watch my newest video next. Or click here to watch a new video about Senator Joe Manchin here, a new update on him. Yeah, check that one out here if you haven't seen that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.